everybody, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite charts and why I think that the markets are headed for price discovery. During this period, Bitcoin is just about to be retesting these prior range highs and finishing that up with a new move into price discovery. And during that time, I believe the total market cap is going to be experiencing the same thing. Always, whenever we see the markets go into price discovery, this is where the biggest gains of the cycle are set in. This is where the most altcoin profits actually play out, and we've been talking a lot about that over the last few days. Now, if you guys stay all the way to the end, I'm going to be sharing with you guys one of my favorite altcoin picks that I think is going to be providing some of the biggest gains over the cycle, and anybody that gets into this early is going to have a huge advantage for when this thing actually goes live. Right off the bat, if you guys find value in this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you guys do want to see how I'm investing in my portfolio long term, links are in the description. Go ahead and sign up on my website. Now guys, when we're coming over and looking at Bitcoin, what we talked about in yesterday's video was more along the lines of, is Bitcoin going to end up breaking out of this descending resistance, and are we going to see a reversal? And in the shorter time frames, it does look like Bitcoin's going to. I talked about yesterday during this period how we needed to hold support, and that was where we could see a reversal coming all the way above this descending resistance at about 67K, and that's when I think that we're going to end up seeing a move all the way back up to the range highs, being the new all-time highs, right? So our all-time highs are about $73,800. Once we get above that, that's really where I think that we're going to see a significant move, probably upwards to 90 to 100K. I think Bitcoin is preparing for something very big, and we've already seen that up to this point. Seeing the Bitcoin cycle taking off quicker than any of the other ones, this is really the point of the cycle where the majority of the altcoin profits are going to set in. And that's why I think that we need to do our part by being prepared for this, because this is the most opportune part of the cycle. Now, as we're looking at this cycle from up to this point, all of our dips have been pretty small, 20% pullbacks the whole way up, and they've all gotten bought up relatively quickly. This is the biggest cycle that we've ever had as far as getting into a new all-time high this quickly into the cycle, even before the Bitcoin halving is set in. And big picture, what I kind of see playing out is once we get up into this next high, we might end up seeing another correction, maybe retesting these prior all-time highs once again, before we end up getting the next big move into this cycle. I would not be surprised to see something like this. Maybe our first Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, Wave 4, before we get the next final blow off top of the cycle. I do believe that that's what's going to end up playing out. Maybe 150 to like 200K. That seems to be like the most reasonable expectation going into this cycle, which that's going to be absolutely massive. And if we get a huge retail blow off top, maybe this thing peaks at 250 plus. I'm not trying to predict the price. I'm just trying to share with you guys how this cycle seems to be playing out from an Elliott wave perspective, and why I think that we're setting up for something so massive. Being in this shorter time frame, seeing Bitcoin going into price discovery, this is the most opportune time, because now we're going to end up seeing all of the altcoin profits setting in. As the total market cap has already retested this prior lower high right in here, we're pretty much at the same point of reversing. I think that this thing's going to set out for a much bigger sort of breakout, and I don't think that these prior all-time highs are going to provide much resistance once the real move sets in. Now, we're seeing this thing at the point of breaking out. We're pretty much right at that descending resistance, and I think that once this gets out of it, we're going to end up seeing Bitcoin kind of doing the same thing, and that's when this next breakout's going to set in. So during this move is where we're going to see a lot more profit setting into the market. So anybody that's aware of that and is prepared beforehand, I think is going to make a lot of profit, because this is the point where we're really going to start seeing a lot more money coming into altcoins. So seeing this playing out, it's encouraging to me, because I know that this is the point where anybody that's really had focus on any sort of altcoins has been accumulating them over the cycle. This is the point where, not only has Ethereum and Bitcoin taken off, but the rest of the market's probably going to end up following suit. This is the point where anybody that's been investing is going to make the majority of their profit. The whole point of getting in all the way back down in this period was to prepare for the new all-time highs, because this is where things get really crazy. Retail flocks in like never before. All of these chains are going to be blowing up, and instead of the last cycle where it was just a handful of cryptos that kind of outperformed, I think that this thing's going to be a lot more like 2017 was, where it's going to break out. We're going to see a significant move into new all-time highs, and anybody that's prepared beforehand is going to make a lot of profit in the process. Now guys, I wanted to share with you guys one of my favorite altcoins coming up over the next couple weeks that I think is going to be providing some of the biggest gains as this market is breaking out. They're timed perfectly with this thing actually going into a new all-time high, and I wanted to share you guys a little bit of the details moving forward. Now right off the bat, guys, when we're looking at some of these IDOs that have actually taken place on Ape Terminal, they've provided the most consistent gains on launch pads and some of the biggest ROIs as well. We've seen some of these providing life-changing amounts of wealth. 293x, you know, $100 would have netted you a significant amount of profit, and almost everybody has $100. So when we're talking about these incubations, they generally provide the biggest gains. I know that I've made the majority of my profit through some of these IDOs and things like that. And there's one coming out that I think is going to be one of the best projects long-term, not only just for the short-term gains, but I think that this thing is really solving a huge purpose and a significant need inside of the crypto markets. And one of the big things with crypto currently, when we're coming over here and looking at Satoshi Sync, this is the project I wanted to share with you guys. Now, more or less what they're solving is the whole issue where all of the liquidity is over here on Ethereum, right? Ethereum currently has $63.5 billion in total value locked. And if we come down and look at Bitcoin, it has just under $1 billion in TVL. So there's a huge disproportion inside of Ethereum versus some of these other chains. And I do believe that that is set to change significantly. Now, with Ethereum dominating the total value locked in DeFi and Ethereum having some of the issues with scalability and gas fees, I believe that this is going to end up leaving and coming into Bitcoin's network. Now that Bitcoin finally has this new network for people to be able to build in, I do believe that it's going to be seeing some of the biggest gains over this next cycle. Now, when we're looking at Satoshi Sync, these guys are directly connecting the both. These guys are cross-chain, and I believe that that is where we're going to see the most value in DeFi long-term, is anybody that can connect multiple chains at once. That's where we're going to be able to have the most liquidity. That's where we're going to be able to have the most upside long-term. Now, basically what you guys can do is you can deploy and mint your own BRC20s. Those are Bitcoin native tokens. You can bridge them over to the Ethereum network and other EVM compatible chains, and you can add liquidity and start your own trading pair. So it actually bridges the Bitcoin network over to the Ethereum network, over to whatever networks you kind of want. But that's kind of the big thing long term. That's the foresight with these cross-chain protocols. They're really changing the way a lot of this market works. And I think that that's how we're going to end up getting true adoption through DeFi. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about with these guys is the token itself, because that's really where the gains are going to be made. When we're looking at all of these IDOs that have already taken place on Ape Terminal, this is another token that is going to be doing the exact same thing. And I have a lot of confidence that this thing is going to be providing some of the biggest gains. Now, once again, guys, the big thing that I think is the best advantage with holding this token is that holders are going to end up receiving revenue generated from the cross-chain fees. So when we're looking at exchanges and why I think DEXs are going to take over this cycle, the real reason is just because the DEXs that allow you to provide liquidity or stake, and then that gives you the access to earning some of the fees generated on chain. Exchanges generate a ton of profit. So being able to actually participate in the network and earn your own revenue share from that, to me, is the future of crypto. It's the future of DeFi and finance as a whole. So when we're looking at the projects that are actually providing the opportunity for rev share, that to me is a significant advantage. And it's something I'm always looking for in my long-term holds. Because if I can earn in the market share, if I can participate in the network and actually earn some of that rev share myself, I just think that the opportunity for upside potential is massive when other people catch on to the same thing. So you're also going to get staking rewards as well. You're going to get governance and voting rights, and then the token itself is deflationary. So there's a lot of big things planned. These guys have a ton of partnerships. If I come over here and actually look at the Twitter, we can see that the IDO is going to be taking place over here on April 3rd. Now, these guys literally just dropped their own Bitcoin layer 2. So they've already started building over here on the Bitcoin network, and I firmly believe that this is one of the best projects that you're going to find launching on Ape Terminal. And once again, guys, when we're looking at some of the prior projects that have actually launched and the gains they've had, this to me is one of the projects that's going to end up turning into basically what this one did over here, where we saw 293x. Now, I'm not saying it's going to pass that. It might do like 50, 100x plus though, and I think that it's probably the most hyped launch I've seen on Ape Terminal since this one that did these sort of gains. So to me, I think it's a huge opportunity. It's one that I wanted to share with you guys because they are solving a significant need, and the token has great tokenomics. For me, the ability to earn revenue share and participate inside of the network itself, as these guys build more partners, as they go and advance even into more chains long term, to me, I just don't think that you can get any better with that. There is a huge advantage by getting into the Bitcoin network early, because when we look at the total value locked in Ethereum and how bad Ethereum is versus the TVL over here on Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a lot of room to move. And looking at Bitcoin's, total market cap, how it's already worth so much money compared to all of the other cryptos in the market, how it already has all of the TradeFi adoption with BlackRock and all of the ETF approvals and things like that. To me, what we're going to end up seeing big picture is when this thing goes into a new all-time high, the Bitcoin chain itself is going to grow drastically in TVL, and it's any project that's already building over there on the Bitcoin network that's tapping into that. And to me, Satoshi Sync doesn't really get any better, because the fact that they're bridging the two together, the fact that you can actually mint a token over on the Bitcoin network, then you can actually provide liquidity and a trading source over on Ethereum. To me, it's just a beautiful thing to watch, because we're going to end up seeing a lot of upside potential in these projects. And you guys definitely want to end up watching it over on Ape Terminal. So once again, I'm going to link Ape Terminal inside of the description of this video for anybody that wants to participate. It's also going to be on C.D.I.Y for anybody that wants to get in over there, which once again, I just talked about C.D.I.Y the other day, how their token looks really bullish, how this thing's breaking out. And I think that, you know, big picture, the only issue with C.D.I.Y, there's a certain amount of C.D.I.Y that you do have to hold in order to get allocation in the launch pads. So just look at the both of them, you know, make your decision whether you want to hold enough C.D.I.Y to actually get access to the launch pad, or whether you'd rather participate over on Ape Terminal, because I do think that this thing is set to do significant gains long term, and anybody that's a part of these is going to make a lot of money long term. So once again, guys, links are in the description to go ahead and participate. Thank you guys so much for the support of this video. If you found value in this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these updates. If you guys do want to see how I'm investing in my portfolio long term, links are in the description to go ahead and find my website and sign up for my private group. Once again, thank you guys so much. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.